And it's telling me we're live. Good evening, Jen. Let's just see what the lag is to YouTube.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's you got it, have you? I haven't. Yep, audio's working. Well, good evening, Jen, Missy. Yeah, not too bad this end. We both got a few doctor's appointments that have gone by, and we got a few more ahead of us, but me more than most. Evening, Scar. Stitch. Hi, sweetie. Little Stitch, if you're there. Yeah, apparently, good evening, Marines. Apparently, me kidneys are fine now, but they've got issues with my liver. So I've got to go and have an ultrasound, apparently, as well as seeing the GP about some other issues. They've been prescribing me a load more pills, but I wanted to check them out with my blood doctor, the hematologist, before I started on them, because they've doubled the dose of my blood pressure pills, which I didn't go a lot on. But yeah, it's all been kicking off after last weekend, isn't it? The Starmer embarrassing the country everywhere he goes, and he's still at it. Apparently, I've seen a report from someone earlier that says the EU have rejected his proposals on the Ukraine now. Well, Meloni from Italy has already said she won't be sending any of their army to the Ukraine. What's me fucking map? Their army to the Ukraine. And I don't believe that we should, no matter what the idiot says. If he wants to send anybody from this country, how about these culturally enriched people that he's importing? If they love this country that much, why don't they sign up and go and fight? Ain't gonna happen, is it? I mean, they've got absolutely thousands now applying to leave the British forces, whether it be their time is up, the amount of time they signed on for. I believe it's still 3 years. If Stuart comes in, he'd probably correct me on that. And then you can sign up for 6 years, 9 years, or whatever it is, as far as I know. But those terms are coming up. They're looking at leaving in the thousands. And to be honest, I don't blame them. I don't blame them one little bit. It's literally, he's going to try and put things in place to block them leaving. I don't believe they legally can, because at the moment we're not on a war footing. We're not in a war. At which point they can, and they can also bring in conscription. I nearly said prescription then. But it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I don't say Trump has got all the answers, but at least he's willing to talk to Putin, and nobody else seems to want to. He's always had a relationship with Putin. I believe there's a great deal of respect from both sides. Yep, Zelensky has bent the knee to Trump, Jen. He knows without the support of the Americans, he would be absolutely fucked. The biggest funding without the Americans that you get is from our treasonous government. I believe, don't hold me to this, this is, I believe, allegedly, that legally, the country can't fund a war like that without having a referendum and the consent of the people of the UK, as we're not involved in it. We're involved through NATO and what have you, but even they're not really involved. They've just been supplying arms, well, and money. Good evening, Moo. Yeah, some of you may have noticed, if you've been on YouTube today, they seem to be deleting a lot of comments again. Even Facebook's been fucking me about today. Good evening, Karen. The Monty Python's clip I put up, the first one, didn't seem to be any issues. And then all of a sudden with the second one, there apparently was copyright issues, which entirely my fault. The channel on YouTube that I downloaded it from does have copyrights. So, yeah, in fairness, I can't blame them for that. But they put a banner over the third one I tried, because I tried editing the other one and that wouldn't work. But the third one seems to have stuck because I didn't download it from a channel that's got copyrights on it. Although they've been up for many years, and after a certain amount of time, I believe fair usage comes into play. But obviously, platforms don't play by the book and on a level playing field, do they? They never have. Good evening to the lurkers in the back room there. Nice ones and bad ones. Good evening, YouTube. We know the faceless cowards will be watching. For some reason, they think I'm a bad influence. But when you look at some of the other stuff on YouTube, you know, I'm a little fish. You know, I believe there should be more viewings on my channel. I'm not too bothered about it, but the fact that the viewings are usually so low makes me wonder what YouTube are doing behind the scenes, as it were. Yet one the other day went to over 600, which I was quite surprised about. But then it dropped down to 50. And good evening to anybody from America that's watching. I know I've got quite a few American subs now. Zelensky was bent the knee to Trump to the 2 billion. Yeah, exactly, Jen. And the other they promised him. Now, you know, the list I posted of how much this government has sent to other countries, and they're still bleating on about this £22 billion black hole. Well, they've given more than that away in one foul swoop to many countries. So if there's a 22 billion pound black hole that they're taxing us to make up, where are they getting all this money from to send to all these other countries? You know, they are the most treasonous, treacherous government that I've ever known, and that I can remember seeing in history, except for when you go back sort of medieval times and shit. But good evening, Gary. But yeah, if he wants to send anybody to war, send our cultural replacements that he loves so much. So much so that he let them have a fucking party in the Great Hall in Westminster the other day. And the same with that alleged king of ours, letting them do it at Windsor Castle as well. You know, he declared himself the defender of all faiths when he got in. Queenie wouldn't have had none of that. The monarchy have always been the Church of England head, defender of the faith. Good evening, Simon. So that, to me, is an insult to the British people, to be honest. Maybe I should ring old Charlie Boy up and say, "Oi, can I have my birthday party in Windsor Castle next week?" doubt if he'd have that, would he? Yeah, it's. I watched the film War Games. Oh, War Games, is that the one with Wampa, the computer, Gary? Good evening, Tony. Yeah, he's totally sold us out. God bless. Absolutely, mate. You know, Wampa, yeah. Yeah, that is quite an old one, Gary. But it does point out the scenario if, that Joshua was the password, wasn't it? It does point out what could happen when AI takes over. Yeah, as I said last week in the live, AI has already taught itself in games to lie, deceive. You know, I mean, I think it was in Japan, they had a big robot expo over there a week or two ago. And they were parading the robots in front of the crowd, which was stood behind a plastic barrier. One of the robots lost its mind and attacked one of the crowd. The technicians had to jump forward and pull it off. It's, yeah, that did amuse me to see that. I say, yeah, that smacks of iRobot, that one. But, so maybe trips. Oh, I don't know. It went in with its arms up like that, didn't it? Evening, Rob. You well bollocks there, you piece of respect. Oh, you can just sit there and listen, Rob. It's quite all right, mate. But yeah, I had to go in Monday. As you can see, some bruising and lots of little holes in my arm again for the bloodletting, as I call it. I've got that going on for the next 6 months now. Battle pots, yeah, I remember that. Me and my brother had one, and I think it lasted about 2 minutes. I can't remember whether it was him or me, to be honest, but one of us just stood up and planted a boot on it, and that was it. If you're going to fight properly. What else have I got on my notes here before we get? I may open the panel up a bit later as well. Oh yeah, he keeps bleating on about stopping the boats. Well, we're not seeing any of that, are we? Yeah, I don't know whether Charlie Boy is actually following the WEF directives, or he's following Starmer's orders. I can't quite figure it out. But the fact that he's not saying anything to Starmer or intervening in what he's doing, which I believe if he's a true king of this country, he should do, with the way that the indigenous people are being treated. After all, he goes to Australia. I want to meet the Aborigines. I want to meet the indigenous people. Same in New Zealand. He wants to meet the Maoris. He goes to Africa. He wants to meet the indigenous people. What about his own fucking indigenous people? You know?
They don't like him.
You know, we don't matter. We don't care. He doesn't care about us. One question to all John Cleese or Michael Palin. It depends on the part they're playing, Gary. There are parts that John Cleese is absolutely brilliant at, and the same with Michael Palin. I like the Python's crew as a collective. They just seem to work and click well together. That's only a possibility, Jen. I did see that from him. Yeah, it's nobody's going to know exactly what's going to happen until May, when he announces the shuffle. But I can see Miliband going. Yes, absolutely. Good evening, Loafer. Whether he'll get rid of Rachel from accounts or not, he fucking needs to. But the thing is, if he'd have done the right thing by the country, hadn't lied his way in, hadn't lied since he got in, people may have just turned around and gave him a bit of a chance, say, okay, let's see what you can do. But lying to everybody from the offset, and the lies were quite obvious, the first thing he did was overturn everything he gave in his manifesto, and that is the wrong way to start. It's even Mussolini didn't do that. Even Hitler didn't do that. They originally lulled the people into a little bit of a sense of security, and then boom, then they went in. Starmer didn't even give it that. He went straight in. First words out of his mouth were lies. Lord, because yeah, they're probably thrilly ones as well. God bless. But yeah, and anybody that stands up and lies to the country like that, and then lies to other world leaders, does he not think that they don't see what's going on in this country? The way they're banging up energy prices left, right, and centre. Well, if he keeps doing that, it's obvious. The Continentals that are supplying the energy to us, they say, oh, he doesn't care how much he jumps. Right, we'll put the price up. He'll get it out of them somehow. We've got just about the highest energy prices in the Western world, as it were. It's all because of that little prick. Yes, Stitch.
We grew up with it.
We grew up with it, darling. Winston Churchill's bogies, and get down, get the baby off the ceiling, writing your shopping list on the baby.
It's an ex-parrot.
That's Monty Python's.
I know.
5 times. Yeah, exactly. We're up very, very higher, a lot higher than the Continentals are getting it for as well. He keeps saying they're our partners. No, they're not. They're ripping us off left, right, and centre, and he's letting them fucking do it. I mean, they have got the measure of him. He wants to turn into one of these very, very important world leaders, and he ain't. He's far from that. Good evening, Brian. Yeah, exactly, Brian. Exactly. I mean, as I said I think I put it on Facebook, I'd be more worried in this country about Starmer than Putin. Putin's no fool. He knows exactly what's going on in this country, and he knows that people are against Starmer. And as I said the other day, he stands up there and says the whole of the UK is behind him. No, it's not. If he thinks that, then call a general election and fucking prove it. But we know he won't. And I still reckon that he wants to go in. He wants to be involved in the war so he can cancel the next general election, because it will go on that long if we go in. Yeah, I used to have the 12-inch single loafer. Yeah, Mrs. W there behind him, but looking at Farage. To be honest, with some of the things that I've been seeing, Farage isn't that trustworthy. But again, he's saying the right words. He's saying what people want to hear. Don't forget, he only got involved in the channel crossing thing because it was the in thing at the moment. It was all over the internet. It wasn't being censored. People were filming left, right, and centre. So he knew he could gain a lot of support there, and he went in. But all right, maybe he doesn't like Tommy Robinson. I don't particularly like Tommy as a person, but I admire what he's been doing. He puts the message out there. And Farage has just heard that, fuck that black guy. Well, he's got to remember there's hundreds of thousands of people that follow Tommy Robinson that would vote for reform. And he has lost quite a few of those voters over to UKIP just through doing that. Yes, God bless, he did. Tracy and Active were the main ones down there. Tracy was there literally filming every day, no matter what the weather, you know, through the winter, through the summer. And I used to watch her live streams. But then they started pushing her further and further back. And then they brought in the thing about no filming down on the docks. I believe all around Dover now on the docks, it's they put in a no-fly zone for drones. Although some people still do. But he totally gaslit the whole nation, Brian. Exactly, mate. 100%. And he's still trying to do it, and he's doing it to other countries. I mean, that was the main thing I took from that meeting with Trump. I'm glad it was live, and I'm glad Trump fucking had it filmed. Yeah, little vet as well, Si. Because it actually proved how much he will lie. Now, I will say, oh, hi, Resist, if you're in the background there. I know he usually is. Stitch just gave me that prompt there. Yeah, the free speech thing. Now, I will say, and I know this for fact, a lot of those clips that Vance was on about of the Ukrainian army snatching people off the street, yes, I do believe that goes on. But a lot of those videos that were posted on YouTube and Facebook and X, a lot of those were Russian, believe it or not. I'd seen them before. When Russia started running out of people and started bringing in mercenaries and armies from other countries, those clips were from Russia. Yes, there is probably a few there from the Ukraine, but the bulk of them were Russian, believe me. And if they've appeared again, don't forget a lot of these are appearing on these AI channels, which could be Russian-run channels. We don't know. I mean, I don't take any notice of them AI channels on YouTube now. A lot of it's false information. The thumbnails are just clickbait. You know, every day there's one on there. Starmer resigns, Reeves resigns. And no, they haven't. We know they haven't. So they're just making themselves look dicks by putting it up. But they keep putting them up and people keep watching them, unfortunately. I mean, I don't report channels for anything. No, it's up to them. You know, I do what I do. They do what they want to do. But, yeah, it's pure propaganda. I wouldn't even be at all surprised if some of them are government run, to be honest. I know some are definitely funded by the WEF. But, yeah, press count. Yeah, there used to be the old coin in the pewter mug, wasn't it? The King's shilling, as they used to call it. You took the King's shilling. If you accepted that coin that was in the bottom of your mug, that was it. If not, you got it over the head and you found yourself a couple 100 miles out at sea before you wake up. But oh, how the BBC are being called out now. hadn't watched anything about the documentary, but apparently it was over a documentary on Gaza. Yeah, I don't know about that, Rob. I wouldn't think Putin has anything to do with them. Yeah, that's why the tankers did have glass bottoms, exactly, Scargy, so you could see anything that was in there. Yeah, they'd done or made a documentary on Gaza. And allegedly, I've got to say that because I've seen absolutely no proof, but they paid, allegedly, Hamas a lot of money to be allowed to make that documentary and film what they filmed over there, which doesn't surprise me coming from a corrupt institution like the BBC. But they've now been looking at the reports, called out on it, and they've even reported it to the police. Somebody did say the police are going to investigate. I haven't heard nothing official about it, so I can't say that's fact. They have admitted it, have they, Simon? Oh, brilliant. That means they're screwed. But the other amazing thing was, again, what Silver Fox said the other night. It was referred to Ofcom, the actual documentary. Now, Ofcom normally pass anything like that back on to the people to look into themselves. Maybe one or two other entities looking into it. But this time, again, allegedly, Ofcom are looking into it themselves, which, as he said, is very, very unusual. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether they paid in a direct or non-direct way. God bless, it's still funding an illegal terrorist organisation. You know, and it was probably more or less protection money, you know, where you can do it. We'll make sure you're safe. We won't shoot you. Oh, that wouldn't surprise me, Rob. Absolutely. But there again, if Zelensky's sat on all this minerals and shit in the Ukraine, what president wouldn't have been mining that to make money? Why all of a sudden have we heard about this? Originally, it was the grain. Oh, we're all going to fucking starve. We're not going to have any bread because the Ukraine supplies the world with grain. No, it doesn't. Far from it. Yeah, I haven't got time in a minute, Rob. Mrs. W might look into it for you, but... All right, Simon. See you in a minute, mate. But yeah, it doesn't matter which way you look at it, who we slag off, who's doing what. We are seeing a big change in the world and the way the world thinks and works. But only for those that buy in to the narrative and the bullshit. Yeah, it's like I've always said though, Simon, you can't always believe what you hear either. Well, you can't believe anything on fucking mainstream media. But even online, on YouTube, any of the platforms. Good evening, Stuart. And then a rugby pitch, another one dead and injured. I haven't heard that one yet, Stuart. Kendall. Fucking hell. Do you want to have a look into that? It's only, you know, we go to Cumbria on holiday, as you know, and I like it up there.
Kendall's a bit far from where we go, but...
Yeah, it's a bit further down, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a bit more inland, I think.
But it's where the mint cake comes from.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Brian. I mean, You got to look at what we're doing, what that's going on with them all now. It's all Ukraine, USA, Europe. I think it was Karen put it up on Facebook earlier, and that is covering up all the other issues that are being brought up that are supposed to be being dealt with. You know, are they quietly manipulating things there while everybody's concentrating on this? You know, they've put that much out there that it confuses a lot of people, least of all me. There's so much to try and find out, so much to look into. I mean, you know, everybody thinks I sit in front of the computer for 10 hours a day. I don't. A lot of the time, it's do a quick video. Yes, if I'm awake or an alert comes in, I will sort of stir and answer comments and stuff like that. But whereas I used to sit here and doing a lot of research, like I did back during COVID and lockdown, I don't have the luxury of that time anymore because I get fatigued, my eyes start to go, and but I do what I can, you know. That's why I don't put as many videos out at the moment. It's just there's too much out there to dive into. You know, you make a few notes on one, yeah, right, that's a video. 10 minutes later, there's another thing that comes up, or I've seen, oh, that needs talking about. And you have to constantly revise what you're going to put out, because I only do the one a day, obviously. I wasn't going to do one today, but I felt I had to post that one of Python's. And I'd imagine that's what a conscript army would look like now. If Starmer turned around and said, right, everybody over 18 in the army, basic training, I think that's the sort of responses they'd get. Yeah, I try to be, Gary. I try to be. Yeah, it is. It's piss funny. I put the other one on Facebook as well, on the playground, where they hear to get you. I didn't actually get round to putting that one on YouTube. You know, I'm not like some channels that post loads and loads of videos a day. I mean, to be honest, I used to watch the old Silver Fox. But when he's banging a video out every 5 minutes, you know, it'll take you all day just to watch what he puts out. And I don't have that luxury of that amount of time. You know, I've got my own things to do as well as my own channel. But, yeah, you can't always take as gem what Trump says, though, Brian. We know that. To my mind, no politician is totally trustworthy. Trump's putting some good orders in place and he's changing a lot. You know, some of it, yeah, you know, like the trans blokes in women's sport. Well, I've said that right from the beginning. Me and Heather talked about it last night, actually. We had a bit of a conversation on it. And there is such a difference in physiques between men and women. You know, I mean, yeah, some people can go back and say, well, look at Fatima Whitbread. I mean, you know, if you were stood behind her and she's giving it this and clenching up and showing all the muscles, you could quite easily take, well, looking at her face, you could quite easily take her as a man, if I'm honest. But Ronnie Barker miscommunications, yeah. But yeah, you know, I mean, Talk TV, those sort of live programs, and what's the name, the woman that does it as well. You know, they sit there and they call out all the politicians live on phone calls and stuff, and you know, viewers can ring in and call them out. But again, it's you've got to watch through several hours of bloody footage just to find that 2-minute section where a member of the public's calling them out. And as I say, I don't have that luxury anymore. Yeah, the physical differences are just, you know, I mean, the was it the bike race? It was a women's race, and a trans set a new record. He beat the nearest woman by 5 hours. Yeah, it's the world's gone fucking mad. But as Trump says, there are two genders. That's it. But all right, Rob, no worries, mate. But yeah, we all know there are medical exceptions. You got people with, what do they call it? Body dysmorphia and that sort of thing. Yes, they are medical issues. But again, they're not just people that have turned around and said, oh, I've decided I'm going to be a woman today. If I saw a woman, a bloke dressed as a woman going into a toilet, and I knew damn well that had his little granddaughter in there, he would not get past the fucking door if I was stood outside. I would probably get arrested because I'd do what it takes to keep him out. If you need to sit down and piss to go in there, then and you've had the full operation, then fine. But if you've got a dick, you should not be in there. More like mental issue. No, there are some genuine medical problems that way, Stuart. I can't remember the name of it now. The ones that are born with both sets of genitals. Hermaphrodite. That's it. Thank you, darling. Again, with body dysmorphia, how many men could look down and say they're unhappy with their dick? But that could be classed as body dysmorphia. They don't like that appendage for one reason or another, but usually it's whatever appendage is they want it removed. And some do go to the extremes. There was a very, very famous video out there of a guy that didn't like his right arm. Surgeons wouldn't do anything for him. His doctors just said, you're an absolute mental case. Maybe he was. Don't know. But he got that desperate that he laid down and put his arm across a railway track so the train would take his arm off. I mean, I'm going back, probably 15, 20 years when I heard about that one and saw the report. And people have tried various ways of cutting their own limbs off. Again, back then, it wasn't recognised. Body dysmorphia wasn't recognised as an actual illness. As Stuart said there, mental health issues.
Yeah.
Well, basically, anything nowadays can be written down to mental health issues. It's the go-to excuse for anything you've done. But but yeah, the world's changing, and I don't believe it's for the better. The changes that are being made by all countries. Well, except for places like Africa and Ethiopia, they can't afford to make any changes, can they? They're just permanently kept in poverty by the governments that have received millions and billions of pounds in aid and support, and it doesn't go to the people. Caught in the ladies when you go down, should be 2 hours bricks treatment. or a good swift boot, Scar. Yeah, exactly, Moo. You get caught doing anything, it's mental health issues. I've always said, I always joke about it, that I haven't got any. Heather will tell me I'm wrong, and she probably is.
Haven't got any
You know.
what, love?
Mental health issues.
Mental health? No, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know, as everybody knows, a year or two ago, I stepped away for a month or so because I'd got myself into a dark place. My biggest escape used to be going up the woods, going up on Cannock Chase with a mountain bike, doing a bit of bushcraft. On the odd occasion, you just stand up there in the middle of fucking nowhere where there's nobody about and just have a good old scream and a yell. Again, that's something I don't have the luxury of now. I can't even get up the local park to do it. If I did, I'd probably get fucking arrested as a mental health patient. But
But when we were younger, wasn't it the case that everything was mental health? It wasn't body dysmorphia. You were just
you were just not right between the ears, as we used to
Yeah.
say as kids. You know.
Schizophrenia was oh, you're mad.
Yeah.
Not schizophrenia, you're mad.
But you never saw it at the levels that we're seeing now. Never.
But at least people have got names for different illnesses.
Don't give money to... Heather will back you up on that, mate. There's one guy that used to sit outside Tesco's. I don't know whether he still does, in the town here. And he was always grateful for a sandwich or a coffee. You know, there was none of this turning nasty if you didn't give him a few bob. If you bought him a sandwich or gave him a hot cup of coffee from the shop, he was absolutely delighted with it.
You mean the guy that came up and said thank you?
Yeah.
That's Martin. I found out his name.
But, you know, again, these people that go around filming themselves, handing stuff out to them. Now, okay, they might be doing it for the right intentions, but they're also doing it for attention to themselves. Otherwise, you wouldn't film it. You know, that might piss a few people off, but that's the way I look at it. You don't look for gratification for giving charity. You do it because it's in your heart.
Did I tell you the latest episode with him?
Go on then.
Well, you know, I said he found me and he said thank you for all I've done, and he'd been given a place to live.
Yeah.
Well, he was getting ready to move in. It wasn't long after that, getting ready to move in. And I went and bought him a can opener.
Oh, yeah. You said because you saw them on offer, wasn't it?
Yeah, A, they were on offer, but B, I know what you get from the food bank. And I said to him, you got a tin opener? And he said, no, I'm using a knife. So I went and bought him a tin opener.
Yeah.
He's got some beautiful big smiles.
I mean, they used to be, I don't know whether she still does. I haven't been up that end of town for a while. There used to be an old coloured lady that always sat in the bus stop up in town. And she had a lovely staffy with her. And she'd be sat there and she would rather you go and buy a bottle of water to tip in the staffy's bowl than give her food. You know, I just said to her one day, would your dog like a drink? This beautiful dog. And she said, I'd love a bottle of water to be able to give him. So I went in, got a bottle of water for the dog, and if I bought her a tea or a coffee as well. And she said, oh, you didn't have to do that. She said the bottle of water for the dog would have been fine. I thought, no, you know, she didn't ask for it. I didn't film. I could have quite easily have filmed myself doing it, make myself look a bloody hero on YouTube, but I wouldn't.
Stuart, this guy's ex-military. He was a carpenter by trade. He's been in the military, and he's just hit rock bottom when his relationship broke down, and he ended up with nowhere to go. But yeah.
That's not very charitable move. I mean, there was one I saw earlier on, and from the story and the pictures, it looked quite genuine. A young lad on a night out saw an old fella stood at the bus stop waiting for the bus, looking a bit dishevelled. And he asked him what bus he was waiting for. So he looked up the timetable, and it was going to be an hour or so or something before the bus would come. It was late in the evening. And the lad ordered him a taxi and paid the driver and sent the old fella home in a taxi. Now, it was somebody else posted that with the pictures. So, the guy didn't want any thanks for it. He just wanted to do something nice, I expect. So he did it. He didn't ask anybody to film it. I believe the pictures came off CCTV from one of the local shops. So it might have been them that posted it. But, everybody keeps on about the homeless. But you've also got to remember that there are a certain amount of homeless that are homeless because they want to be, or they've deliberately made themselves homeless. Not many, but there are some of those out there. As Stuart says, military, you can ask, if you're in the know, you can ask one or two questions that damn well you'd need to have been in the military to answer them. Oh, we had a weird one today as well. Wasn't it the tax on the car? Now, I couldn't remember when the tax was out on Heather's Focus estate. I know the MOT's up at the end of next week, so it's been booked in for that. But then I thought about the tax. Both me and Heather checked online to see when it was taxed to, because she paid it in a lump sum last year rather than monthly. And it kept coming up on DVLA's search thing and other search engines as it was SAWNed. I'm like, what the fuck? We've never took the thing off the road. And apparently it was SAWNed on their books from when?
February 23.
From February last year.
No, 23.
23, 2 years ago. No, that car, we have never SAWNed. So she had to spend an hour or two on the bloody phone earlier on sorting that out. Hopefully it's sorted now. But the thing is,
taxed from the 1st of March. But when I was trying to do it on their online, on the phone system, it says this vehicle needs to be taxed from the 1st of January 2050. I wasn't going to do that because I didn't think it would cover me for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly, Stuart. That's what I say. If you know a little bit about the military, you could gain in just a couple of questions. You'd know whether they were or not. I mean, you know yourself, you served, and most of my mates were. Some of them left many, many years ago. But you ask them, they can still quote their army number off the top of their head. It's one of them things that you never forget once you've been in there. I can't, because I never served.
If somebody tells me they were in the army, I believe them. No reason to lie to me. I wouldn't know how to tell. You boys might, but I wouldn't.
Oh, I would.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You boys would, but I wouldn't. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, exactly, sure. And you can match up to their age. You got a young lad on the street there saying he served in this unit, that unit. Well, and damn well that unit was disbanded or changed many years ago. It's quite easy, but you do need to know a little bit of knowledge to be able to do that. I'll help anybody that is trying to help themselves, Gary. That's the way I work. If they're making an effort for themselves, then I mean, both me and Heather know personally a recovering drug addict. He got himself off the harder stuff. He got himself married, but he did carry on smoking herb. And I got the word after the question was asked the other day that he's quit that as well. So, you know, you can do it. I mean, I done it. I quit smoking. Well, I quit smoking all told. Eh?
He's quitting.
Well, yeah, he still has the odd spliff, but where he was smoking a bag a day, it's now like a bag every 3 weeks.
Yes, still
4
gets
weeks.
the occasional little bag.
Yeah. And he's helping himself. So I always try and big him up on that. You know, he knows we're there if he needs to chat or anything like that. But
he loves me.
But yeah, everything takes time, Gary. Everything. Yes, sure. He's saying about the different units and that. My father served in originally what were called the Berkshire Rifles. And they went through so many changes. It was the Royal Green Jackets. Then it was the Berks, Hamps and Dorset. I've no idea what they're called now. But they've been through about 8 different changes the last time I looked. I don't even know if they're still under that name or whether it's still a unit anyway. But yeah, you know, I mean, with what's going on now and what the idiot mainstream media is telling and shit like that, well, and the politicians. Now, they're saying World War III could happen. Well, I keep thinking more of the 1984 scenario. The 2 last great continents battling each other. Now, the way it's going, you know, yes, there could be, it's feasible, World War III, but it would be between Putin and America and American allies. Guess who slap bang in the fucking middle of it? Us. Where does Starmer get off calling us, oh, we're a great continent, when he's talking about the UK and the EU? No, we're not a fucking great continent. We're a poxy little fucking island off the coast of Europe that done better for ourselves than all the other fucking islands that are off the coast of Europe or anywhere else. We're not a continent. Yeah, I mean, saying that though, Simon, everybody thought the Russian-Ukraine thing was just a bit of saber rattling at the beginning. Look where that led. Yeah, we're not a continent, Jen. Far from it. We're a tiny little island that done well for itself. It's a shame we're still not doing well for ourselves, but there you go. Now part of the battalion in the Rifles. Fair enough, Stuart. Thank you.
Part of the issue we've got is we were doing really well, so we helped everybody else, and now we've got fuck all left. But we're still helping everybody else. You know, apparently.
It's like I said, to be able to help somebody else, you've got to be in a position to do that. And this country, with the mess it's in at the moment, is in no fit state to help anybody else. You know, all Starmer's going to do is wind everybody else up. He's turning everybody against each other. You know, I mean, what he said to that fucking idiot Trudeau of Canada. You know, he said we're back in Canada. Well, America's against Canada at the moment. So, come on, fucking Comrade Starmer. Which side are you actually on? Because you're not on ours. 2 from the top, 3 from the bottom. Yeah, that's one woman that needs to wind her neck in when it comes to politics. She needs to stay away from the surgeons as well. I actually met her, and she used to be a very nice woman, but I don't think much of her now. Yeah, exactly, Simon. Exactly, mate. You know, and I'm still of my opinion that this is why Starmer is letting all these people in this country. It's because he wants us to keep us at loggerheads with them. He didn't start them coming in. I'll agree to that. You know, the Tories had a great deal to do with that. But there again, people are saying the Tories weren't too bad. Well, how many years have they sat there saying, we're going to stop the boats, and fuck all happened? All they're doing is pissing money up against the wall, the taxpayers' money, to fund these people.
But the boat people, as far as I know, have been coming as long as I can remember.
Yeah, that's what I said, Simon. It's been going on for years. You can't just blame Labour. The Tories are involved in it as well. I'll tell you what, mate, I said that in a video a little while back. He would love to push it that far where he could bring in martial law, and then he could bring in conscription. Then he could stop people leaving the army. You know, I've always said a leader should lead from the front and lead by example. And ripping the taxpayer off, paying for their own heating, their own properties, their own fucking servants, getting their meals subsidised and bills paid for them. That is not how you lead a country. That's why countries like Africa and that are in the shit, because that's what their leaders do. Every penny they get, they spend on themselves. It doesn't go to the people. I agreed with what most people said yesterday. If Starmer wants us to go to war and he wants to put boots on the ground and he's going to conscript people to take over there if need be, let all the politicians put their fucking kids on the front line. Won't happen, will it? They're the elite. If they go into the army, they'll end up in officers' school, I expect. They wouldn't be allowed anywhere near the fucking front line. I mean, in fairness, Nancy Andrew did. Yeah, he flew choppers in the Falklands, although that weren't much of a war, but it was still the front line. And I believe he flew again in the Middle East. But, that's I don't see Putin as wanting Britain as a trophy. That's what I said. The bloke's, although they're saying he's a lunatic, he's got people in this country. He knows the feeling of the country. And he knows that Starmer won't change his mind on anything because the people want it. You know, even Trump can see that. Yes, I did have some notes on that somewhere, Simon. But again, we know that was coming. They've been doing it since Labour got in power. We've seen it. We've seen the two-tier policing around it. I mean, that one of the bloke who fucking belted the four coppers over the head with his bike and then give one a good right hook. They weren't originally going to arrest him until the old fella stepped in and put him to sleep. And fair play, you know, that big old copper couldn't fucking handle him. Mate, he just steps up, puts him in the sleeper, bump, down he goes. Yeah, exactly, Moo. Exactly, Moo. You saw that back during the Second World War, didn't you? Most of the elites ended up at Sandhurst officer training rather than getting the front line. Yeah, admittedly, they have to do their 6-week basic, but which is about all the police get now as well, looking at most of them. Most of them look like step straight out of school and put in a uniform that's about 4 sizes too fucking big for them. But they prove time and time again that the police now are just the strong arm of the government. You know, they're supposed to be an independent entity. They're supposed to be able to think for themselves. That's the last thing you see them doing. But again, so many of the old coppers are leaving. They're losing them hand over fist. You know, because the old ones can see where it's going and they don't want any part of it. You know, they were respected members of their communities and they don't want to deal with that shit anymore. Brown shirts. Yeah, exactly, Simon. Exactly. Yeah, but you got to think back then, Stuart, that most of our royal family fucked off because they were German, didn't they? They said they couldn't stand here and back England when their relatives were in Germany. But no, I personally think that the monarchy are dead in this country. I've heard even a lot of royalists and a lot of old royalists have said, you know, that they're not the royal family anymore. Believe it or not, Loafer, Bexhill, Purvensey Bay, I won a big fishing competition there. DJ, good evening, mate. Yeah, they do have what they call external or external services that they actually get paid for. But as we know, they're not supposed to back up a civil entity in civil cases like that. Yes, they're there saying they're there to keep the peace. But when they step over that line, yeah, I've heard that one before, DJ. But yeah, you know, the police overstep their powers all the time now. You know, just, oh, there's a bloke with a phone in his hand. Oh, he might be filming. Right, we'll get his details. You know, go fuck yourself. Yeah. And then they turn around and say, well, we'll arrest you if you don't give your details. Well, if I haven't committed a crime, go and arrest me then. I could do with a nice payout. And most of them will just leave it. Well, I mean, on average now, those that do put in a complaint and a claim against them, I believe it's on average about 800 quid for illegal detention and search. Yeah, it might take a while to get through and you might have to give the brief that puts it all through for you, a percentage of whatever compo you get. But every time you do that, yes, they say it's money coming from the taxpayer. But that is also money coming out of the police's budget, and it teaches them a lesson. Yeah, and that's the thing, Scar. They have no idea of the laws. You know, they look on their little phone. Oh, look, that's a law. You know, well, everybody else can do the same. No, it fucking isn't. I mean, there was who was it put one up? As you know, I don't watch a lot of audit and stuff. I haven't done for some time, but I do watch the odd one of Blaggers, Marty Blagborough, and it was so funny when them coppers walked up and said, "You can't fly your drone here, mate. It's illegal." And Marty just looked him square in the face and said, "No, it ain't. I'm putting it up anyway. If you think it's breaking the law, arrest me." And then they just walked away because they knew damn well they were lying. Good evening, James. How you doing, buddy? You at work, are you? That's my old mate he's down in Cornwall. Yeah, and they'll twist every part they use, Stuart. I mean, look how they abuse Section 43 of the Terrorism Act. You know, that's their go-to thing. Well, from what I understand of the Terrorism Act, if they arrest anybody under the Terrorism Act, before they do anything, they're supposed to contact the anti-terrorist group to see if there's any interest in that person. One or two have tested that, and straight away they've been released because nope, we've got no interest in them unless you've got actual physical evidence. There's nothing you can do. So if there are any auditors out there, remember that. I've seen at least two that have done that. One did get himself arrested, and he brought it up at the sergeant's desk, and said, have you contacted the anti-terror squad? He said, no. He said, well, under your guidelines, you're supposed to, being as I've been arrested under the Terrorism Act. If I'm a suspected terrorist, they have to know. And I know two that have done that. Don't know them, but I've seen it happen on the videos. Yes, picture. I haven't seen that one, Loafer. Yeah, it's nice to have a job, James. I wish I could work, mate. I really do. I mean, it hurts me now walking to the end of the path and putting the bloody bin out. Yeah, check it out, Simon. One was last year, and I think the other one was maybe 2023. I can't for the life of me remember who it was. But there has been an ex-copper online that has said that as well. So whether that's where they got it from and used it, I don't know, because I didn't know anything about that when I saw it going on. Yeah, but the thing is, Loafer, if you watch some of the American auditors, yeah, the laws are totally different over there. And they make absolute bellends out of the police over there most of the time. And they have to do, as they call it, the walk of shame. You know, because the coppers know they're right. They can't do anything about it. I mean, they've got the luxury of being able to turn around to their coppers and say, go fuck yourself, kick rocks. And they can't get arrested for it over there. But over here, oh, you're swearing. Woof, Section 5, breach of the peace. Doesn't matter that there isn't anybody around. Yeah, but the thing is, Simon, that they haven't got total, as somebody pointed out in the comments in a video the other day that I'd done. The Americans haven't got total free speech. As he said, you've only got to look at the ones that get kicked out of council meetings. The kids that get shut down for pointing out in the council meetings how bad their books are at the school board meetings. You know, they'll get dragged out. They stop certain groups of people getting into the meetings. And there's a lot of that goes on, and that is against free speech. If it's a public meeting and they've asked for public speakers, then you should have the right to stand there and question the authority. But as soon as they start questioning them, they're dragged out. You know, they have got, on the streets, they've got far more free speech than we have. The trouble in America is each state's got its own set of laws. There's the federal laws and then there's state laws. Where we, in this country, we've got the law that covers everything. You know. But yeah, in America, a lot of them are coming round. You know, they're pointing out, and I think the biggest advantage Americans have got in fighting those sort of cases is the amount of compensation that are paid. Whereas over here, you know, you get a slap, injured by the police, wrongful arrest, you might get $1.50, tops a couple of grand. Over there, you're looking at hundreds of thousands, and in some cases into the millions. I mean, there's one bloke got, what was it, 2 million for a wrongful arrest and wrongful detainment. They kept him in jail for 2 days. And he got millions out of it. You know, some of these people where the police have killed the innocent person are getting tens of millions of pounds. You know, there was one family, I think it was their son, was stopped. And because he wouldn't answer, the police turned around, tried to walk away. They mag dumped him in the back. And they got over 50 million. Now, if that was like that in this country, yes, the lawyers would bend over backwards because the amount of money that they'd make out of cases like that. Yeah, James, we brought that up earlier. They were debating it in the House today. I don't normally watch Question Times now. It's a fucking pantomime, but it's what goes on afterwards. Yeah, they got certain levels depending on the offence that the coppers or whatever. You know, and I like the fact that they actually say, well, look, unless you go and apologise to that person, yeah, you're going to lose your job. They say the police get treated like that, oh, you've got to go and apologise. But no, you never get a half even meaningful apology from the police in this country. They're like Starmer. They can't do it. They can't admit they were wrong. You know, the fact that the Mets got over 1,000 sat there being paid because they haven't got time to investigate them for their wrongdoings, or when in fact there's over 1,000 got through where their references wasn't even checked. So that tells you what sort of state our police force is in, or police farce, as they should be known now. That's all right, mate. It's all right if you've been working all day. I mean, the state I used to get in after walking behind a lawnmower for 8 hours was the last thing I wanted to do was sit in front of a fucking camera. All right, Jen.
Take care, Jen.
Look after yourself. Australian police. Again, the Australian police are slowly being held to account for what they've been doing. Yes, they did some evil fucking things during the COVID and during lockdowns and the laws they had put in place. But there's a lot of people now that have opened cases against the police and the government over there. And they are winning the cases. But Australia has got loads, again, it's like America. They got loads of different laws to what we've got. You know, they got their points for bad driving and that, the demerit system. But when you think in law in Australia, motorcycle clubs are banned. It's against the law to wear patches supporting any motorcycle gang or anything like that on your jacket, even down to having tattoos. Yes, they do have a hell of a problem with gangs over there, but they are Indigenous Australians, most of them. You look how they run their borders. Which one, James? You know, if you're an undesirable and you come into the country, you're turned round and you go straight back. Any of the boats that try and get across to there, they're turned round. They get sent back. Oh, that was a couple of years ago, James. It all blew up. Well, I won't go into the names of the clubs, but there was two that kind of started it. And funny enough, New Zealand has the same issue over there. Because a lot of motorcycle clubs now, especially MCs, they're worldwide. They got chapters in different countries. And their car modification laws are very harsh over there. They go into ride height modifications. You're not allowed. And they brought that in here. There is one, I don't know whether it's in yet, where you're not allowed to modify your car unless the parts are from the company who built the car. They're trying to do away with the noisy exhausts and all the tuning upgrades. Oh, there's been trouble with MC clubs all over the world, God bless. There always has been, mate. Yeah, I gave up wearing any sort of patch many years ago. I'm still in touch with a few of the lads. I mean, I'm regularly in touch with the president of one of the clubs I was in. He's been a friend of mine since school. But, you know, you can say that the law's clamping down on the bikes. Well, they're clamping down more on cars as well. I mean, you got the new thing that they're trying to push through in Europe, banning touchscreens. They've got the black boxes that they have to fit to them by law over there. Those are in cars that are exported to England. They're just not turned on because it hasn't been made law here yet. Oh, Aaron, yeah. Yeah, they persecuted him over the years, haven't they? I remember when they dragged him out of, I think it was Tesco's or somewhere in front of his mum. He is a big guy as well. Right, well, that's what we on. What's the time? 20 past 8. Well, I'm aiming for 9 o'clock again. So, for now, yeah, James. The main one in Cornwall used to be Scorpio. They were, I can't remember whether it was St. Austell or Truro based, but Mick Harley, who rode them, I knew him quite well, used to chat and party with him. They disbanded many years ago. But they've even got drag racing in Cornwall now, James, down on the old airfield. They've opened that up. They have regular drag meets there with bikes and cars, apparently. Right, I will post the link up there. I don't like to open it too early because I tend to lose touch with what's going on in the chat by concentrating what's going on, because I've got it on a separate screen. But there's the link if anybody wants to drop in. Oh, I might have known you'd have been the first one in there.
Oh, what's going on with my camera?
You got nothing.
Hang on a minute. It's linking to my fucking phone. I don't. Hang on a minute, I've got to mute that one. Every move you take.
Evening. No, Loafer. Drag racing is what I used to do. It's
Red or red? Which one do you prefer? Which red one do you prefer? We like that.
Still got one facing forwards, one facing backwards.
Yeah. Walking to my local Audi. How's everyone doing? You okay, guys?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just, I don't know why it's the Venus sections don't normally wipe me out too bad, but this one, Monday, totally fucking wiped me out. I did have to go uptown as well and get my glasses fixed. That didn't help. I was in a lot of pain when I come back with that. But I just sat here and my fucking lens just kept dropping out. Hello, everything's gone.
Yeah, same as. Look, hang on a minute. It's not going to do it now, but I just popped down Poundland and got another pair.
Yeah,
it was.
Mine
bifocal
are just for computer work. They got the anti-glare coating on. As you can see, if I look at that, I can go into.
I can see the reflection.
There we go. Look, Mr. On mode. But I got different ones for driving. I got different ones for reading. I got another set for watching telly. It's anybody can sign into it that's got a bike, James, or a car. You have to go through scrutineering, obviously. They do advertise on Facebook. I can't remember what the group's called now. But there's all classes from normal road bikes right up to full-on drag bikes. We actually done the first one when I was living down there. We went to it. I didn't have a bike at the time. Mine was wrecked. And a mate of mine, Kelvin, from the management club, actually lent me one from his shop, which I thought was, oh, yeah. He said, well, if you break it, you pay for it. I said, well, that's fair enough. So I took a Suzuki down there. My mate took his Gixxer down there, his GSXR 1100.
Oh,
and
I had one of those.
Yeah, I had the 750.
I had a Katana. You know,
oh, that's the old one. I'm talking about.
I'm old. Fuck off. I was only 17, 18 at the time, though, Rod.
There was proper drag bikes there and all sorts, and he walked away. He'd rode the bike there, and he walked away with the second fastest run of the day. And I ended up, I think I was, because I was only on a 252 stroke at the time, an old Suzuki, and I ended up about fifth. But I mean, my mate Neil said the only reason was because I'd been drag racing before. I know the ropes. I know how to read the lights. I know how to change gear and not lose speed and power. But it was the first
How
time they said a 250 that stood on its back wheel halfway down the fucking strip. But I went up. I took on a Suzuki Intruder 1100 with a 250 Suzuki. I beat him. And a young girl. It was just when the Aprilia started bringing out the 252 stroke, the new one.
Yeah.
And this young girl lined up. Oh, yeah, all right then, love. You know, you got a lot faster bike than me. So I got a whole shot and just went down the strip. Didn't even bother looking back until I'd crossed the beam. I looked back and all I could see was this big cloud of blue smoke. So I waited for her at the end of the strip so I could, you know, put my foot on a peg and push her back down to the start. And she was in absolute tears. She was in meltdown. I said, well, it's only your engine, love. You can have it rebuilt. She said, no, it's my boss's bike. He only lent it me for the day. It's only a week and a half old. And I was like, oh.
You can tell a good biker, you tell them to get your knees out. Let's have a look at your knees. And if you're a fucking good biker, let's have a look at the fucking little marks I got on my, you know, where you go lean right into it.
Mine are covered in burns, mate.
I miss the old biker days. I would like to have a bike nowadays, not in England with the idiots on the road.
Well, I can't have another one. A couple of years ago, you know, every 10 years now you have to renew your license.
Yeah.
They actually, for some reason, took my bike entitlement off. And a lot of people have had the same problem.
Really?
And unless you've got your original certificate, you have to go through all the new training.
Who keeps that? Who keeps that?
Exactly. It was something to do if you haven't had a bike registered or insured a bike for a certain amount of years, they took your entitlement off.
Maybe a bit like cars. If you don't insure your car for 3 years, you lose all your no claims. Did you know that?
Yeah. I didn't know about it to start with, and then I started seeing a few people that had put videos up saying, "Oh, you know, I was thinking about going back into biking. You know, there's a lot of the older generation are going back into it, only to find that their entitlement had gone." So I actually got my license out and had a look, and yeah, they took the entitlement off.
Fuck.
And when I looked into it, they said, well, unless you got your original pass certificate, I mean, you wouldn't even get a replica because they haven't got them on record, obviously.
No, because of our ages and that, yeah.
And when you took them back down, obviously the test centres ain't going to remember you 40 years down the bloody line, even if they still existed. But yeah, I was quite shocked at that. It was, I had no intention of using it again, but it would have been nice if it had on there if I decided, oh, you know, I want a little trailie or something, just for having a wander around.
Or just hire one on holiday for the weekend to, you know.
I believe because I'm the older license holder from that generation that I can still ride a 125 on my license with L plates.
Yeah, you can. Where's mine?
You know, it's like nowadays, if you want to tow a caravan, a trailer, a big trailer, or anything like that, you've got to take a separate test.
Yeah.
Well, I've still got my entitlement on there for, you know, caravans, trailers. The only thing I lost on it, which was my own fault, was me Class 2 HGV. Literally because I let my license lapse and didn't renew it. If I'd have renewed it, I would have been fine.
I have to have a coach with a trailer, a lorry with a trailer.
Yeah, agricultural vehicles. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the license, I mean, I looked at this the other day, I don't know why. And where you got the expiry date, I've got 2 more years left on mine. You turn it around, quite clever, all the you know, when you turn it around like the old Frosties, it needs to change face and stuff like that. All these little things on it. It's quite clever how they've done that. I've never really looked at my license closely like I did the other day.
Well,
You know, to stop fraud, but you don't have to worry about fraud. You just need to have somebody
did
called.
you know that if you've never changed address and you've still got your old paper license, you don't have to renew it every 10 years?
Really? Oh, but yeah, I've moved tonight a few years ago. Actually,
Yeah.
I went up to Birmingham from Swindon once to go and do something. What's now? I got pulled by the old Bill, motorway patrol, of course. Buses, isn't they? They're fucking Starsies. I didn't realise my licence had run out. They impounded my car. I had to ring a mate of mine up to come and get it and all that stuff and prove insurance until I got my licence renewed. It's just I didn't.
That's why Heather was on the phone for an hour today to DVLA, because since February 2003, 23, our daily drive apparently has been sawned.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We only bought it in 22.
We've had it on the road ever since we bought it, and we only bought it to replace the one that she got written off.
But we bought it in 22. I would have paid that. I wouldn't have sorted it the following year. I paid the tax. I'm going to sort out. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. It's taxed now, and they're not looking to come after me for back rent.
Yeah, but
So-
it's like I said. The problem is with the way the police are working now. They'd have only had to pull you up because the PNC would have said it's sawned, and the first thing they fucking do is seize your car.
They've just been given new powers, the police, or it's just coming in. I think it's from April, where they can check all your medical records and everything to make sure that with your insurance to say like, no, it's coming in.
It's coming in, but you can opt out of it with the NHS.
Oh, sure.
Back just after the pandemic, the Tories passed the thing where the NHS can share your data with the police, the council, certain other businesses and entities if they requested it. And it automatically, they could do it, but you could go into the NHS website and opt out of it, which means the only way they can get it is with a court order.
It was, hang on a minute, if I remember rightly, that was a few years ago. And if you didn't opt out to they automatically opted you in unless you specifically How many people did that?
I did.
I know. All right.
You can actually go into your GP surgery and request the form, the opt-out form. But very, very rarely do they keep them forms in the surgery.
So that's too late now, isn't it? That's too late now, if I remember rightly.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it lately, mate. But yeah, after it had been announced within a week, I'd been on there and opted out, and I made sure my GP surgery knew I'd opt out, that I did it.
I'm just looking at Franco. He had a Lotus Carton. My cousin did as well back in the 80s. It was a black with a silver line down it, didn't it? It had a silver body panel bit going down it. The Lotus Carton. They were fucking evil little shit things.
Most of mine I'd built myself.
Well, the Carton,
I think I can never remember. Oh, I had a couple of Capris that still had their original engines, and everything else I'd owned, I'd swapped out with some.
Fucking death trap. I had a 3-litre once when I was about 19, 20. It was probably a 1970s, you know, I think it was first gen. And that thing, oh yeah, it was a quick car, but the back end of it, oh my word, death trap. I don't know why they're so popular.
But I used to like Capris for banger racing. But what I used to do was strap the back axle down. And instead of draining the fuel tank and removing it, I used to fill it with liquid concrete.
No, you're not the first. I've heard that. Yeah, people, yeah.
All I used to do is knock 4 holes through the floor, couple of lorry ratchet straps down around the axle, winch them up, pull the back right down, mate.
I don't want to talk about cars. I'm having such a fucking shit time with cars at the moment. My Seat Alhambra, it started getting shit miles per gallon, no oomph in it. And where you got these new turbos, you've got these vanes on the back of them now, and they get coked up because you've got the not NGR. What's it?
Yeah, it's
What's that
the
valve?
valve. The valve. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said I've had it since brand new, so I've done all these things like you can get Mr. Muscle and put it in the back end of it where the sensor is. I tried all that. I bought the Wins turbo cleaner and done all that and this and that. And I went out for a rant. They said give it a good rant on the motorway. So I went on the motorway, no speed bumps, and then my AdBlue came. Fucking AdBlue error. 650 miles left until engine stop. So and then I drove back and I noticed there's a bit of like smoke and that coming from the car. I thought, what the fuck? Oh, what have I done now? I had to look underneath where you got the cap that comes down from the engine, the exhaust. There's these two prongs, mounts that go in on a rubber. The exhaust had popped out of these rubbers, and where you got the AdBlue injector, it has snapped the fucking injector on it. So the AdBlue was pissing all over the. So I did that today. I changed it all over. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I've spent fucking hundreds. I had a DPF clean. I DPF cleaned it myself. Then I got some company to come and do it. And when they did it, the snow that came out of the back of it, I could have eaten it. It looked like if I put a flake 99, I could have sold it. It was clean as fuck. So I don't think that did any good. So tomorrow I got some of this stuff called Revive Turbo Cleaner coming tomorrow. That's his last chance.
The new MOTs after April, there are new polluting laws coming
Daisy.
in.
Sorry, that's Daisy. Daisy the psycho one.
Yeah, they're changing the emission levels on the MOTs.
Oh, hold on, look, watch. Also, did you know this? Busted for a piss. I'll quickly say this. They are also now saying they're going to have cameras on the MOT, and they have to document.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Now, how much more is that going to cost the MOTs?
You can adjust it, fiddle it around in the under the bonnet to change the emissions when they did the emissions test.
Yes, and but they're going to film it. And the MOT test examiner, whatever, has got to document it all. That's going to take him much more time. More time is what?
Yeah, and it has done for years now. It goes straight on a computer to DVLA.
Give me 1 second.
But what's going on?
Can I just say one is I've just checked my emails.
Yeah.
I've got every SON notification for the other car and payments from 22 when I paid the year and today but no SON notifications for that one. God knows what happened in February 23, but I didn't SON it.
It's down to them. Yeah, we do know ours, Gary. Heather used to actually, part of her job at one of the companies she worked for was going around there and doing his books. And I serviced a couple of bikes for him and done some repairs as well. But yeah, we do know them quite well around there. But what they're trying to stop is these guys that their mates are going in and they just do the quick check and there you go, mate. They want to see the bloke do the MOT. They want to see everything being checked to make sure that there's nobody slipping through. I believe the reason for it is because they were going to try and extend the amount of time between MOTs. Whether they're still considering that or not, I don't know. But there are a lot of new motoring laws coming in. There's the ones already in place with the cameras. There's a camera before a speed camera that if you're not slowing down fast enough before you get to the zone, they nick you. They'll have you. What about buying a Merc C-Class?
He just
unless they're a proficient mechanic, James, the sensors and the feeds and the pumps from the fuel tank, you really don't need to mess around with.
and definitely don't buy anything from Fish.
What have I missed?
Not a lot.
Right. So wish me luck on this fucking car. Oh God, I mean, I just applied for this. I've got it here actually. I've got to fill it out. I've done most of it. That PIP thing. I could have had it 15 years ago, but pride, blokes and all that kind of stuff. But I could do with it now. Fuck it. Well, I see the Pakistani Olympics outside the Legoland.
Believe me, mate, I didn't want to get rid of my little Peugeot GTI. It was like a 2-litre go-kart, But it stood on the drive for years. I needed a motor once I'd started another job. So my mate come round, Sparky, give me a hand. We got it up and running and into the MOT bay. He was quite amazed how clean it was. So I said, well, even though it's been stood up for 8 years, I've looked after it.
Yeah.
All it needed, basically, it needed new brake calipers because, I couldn't drive it around, and some tyres. And it sailed through, and I used it again for a couple of 3 years. And then when I didn't need it again, I had it stood up. And in the end, I thought, well, I don't need a GTI. It's going to get expensive on tax and insurance. So the best thing to do is move it on. And I ended up using the little Fiesta thing that the daughter had because she bought another car. And that's still sawned out on the drive now. It was either her partner or a son, whoever's first passed their test, will get it MOT'd for them. All that'll need is a couple of tyres and probably wiper blades.
And a good clean.
The old green moss is growing a bit round.
Yeah. Oh, jet wash it. They get a bit of wet and dry and give them a rub on their blades and then reuse them.
Oh, I'd strip them out, mate. I'd strip them out.
I got a 2006 Passat Estate 2-litre manual. I bought it brand new. What? Fucking hell, 20 years ago now, nearly. And the only thing I drive it like it's stolen all the time. And then we didn't use it for a few years. We just used it as an estate car to keep the kids' bouncy castle in it. And because I've had problems with my other car, I get back on the road. RAC, couldn't get it started. RAC come out, couldn't get it going. It start up and I worked it out. It was a fuel pump. The motor had gone. So Euro car parts, 280 quid. Amazon, 11:30 at night. How much? 52 quid. Yep. Next morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, delivered. Bit smelly to install it, but it's okay. It's fun. Did all that, and the turbo on it's never given me no issues. It's got everything's original on it. Exhaust, the whole lot, and the fucking thing is brilliant on fuel. Although I have had a bit of a problem because where she fucked up the clutch or something, she rammed it in. So sometimes it's a bit difficult to go in second gear, and I think that's probably because where you got the cable goes from the gears to the gearbox. She probably stretched it or elongated it.
Linkage change.
Yeah, linkage, yeah. But it's fucking brilliant. I mean, it's an
I'm
old,
just going to apologise to the people in the chat because we descended into the car thing again.
Oh, sorry, I apologise for that.
Yeah, no, it was me as well.
Well, we're kind of like old guys. We fix it ourselves. We've learned, you know what I mean.
Well, we had the Focus
generation.
Saloon before she got her drop top, and I had a broken spring on it. So we got a Ford dealer around the corner here, literally round the corner. I went in, how much for a new spring, mate? 180 quid. I said, how much to fit it? He said, oh, that'll be probably another 200. So I went back to him a week later. I said, you can go fuck yourself. He said, you can't drive around on a broken spring. I said, I bought a patterned one off the internet for 12 quid and it came with 3 clamps, compressors. I said, so it took me an hour to drop the suspension leg out, change the spring and put it back in. I said, you go fuck your £300 plus.
I know. I don't trust garages. I've never had a good experience. When I bought that Seat Alhambra, and it's the Lux with every fucking thing. It's even got a button on it. You press a button and it parts the car. And I had a 5-year warranty on it. I had problems with the auto stop start, the fuel tank. You'd be sat there and suddenly it just go like that, and a few other bits of issues like the electric doors when it's cold, they'd open, frosty, but they wouldn't close. Nightmare when you take your kids to school in the morning and late. Anyway, at the end of the 5 years, they said, and I had it a lot of times. They said they'd give me a call. He goes, "Oh, Mr. G, would you like to book it?" Docs myself. Would you like to put your car in? I said, "What for?" "Oh, well, those issues you had. We can offer you a goodwill gesture." I said, "I'll tell you what you can offer me. I'll tell you what I can offer you. Go fuck yourself. 5 years you've had a chance to do that. Honestly, fucking cars. You've got to do it. That's why I've learned myself, and like you, Rog, as well. You know, but But anyway, let's change the subject. Let's go back to this new
Politics.
sentencing law. Let's go back to the sentencing laws that are coming out.
Quarter of an hour, so.
Yeah, it's a true story, guys. If you've not seen it,
what pisses me off with those is now if you get done for, say, attacking a cop or attacking an emergency worker, you
like Diana Abbott's son. Yeah,
you get a higher sentence. Now, surely, if a copper attacks a member of the public for no fucking reason, surely they should get a higher sentence as well.
Yeah, because they're in a position of trust and should know better.
Look at Mike Amesbury. Perfect fucking example.
Oh, my God.
Unprovoked attack on a member of the public, gets 10 weeks in jail. A week later, he's fucking out.
No. Not a week later. It was 3 days, Rog.
I was going to say.
Worse still. How can you get that overturned in 3 days? Once you're in there, that's it. It takes ages.
Even his lawyer said, "Oh, we will appeal, but it will take weeks and weeks for the appeal to go through." Someone had a word in somebody's ear there, didn't they?
Oh, somebody did.
And you had the people like Peter Lynch. God bless him. God rest his soul. Oh, yeah. God.
Yep. It's
terrible.
It's totally two-tier,
Two-tier tyrannical Kia. How's that? I'm a poet. I didn't know it.
How they fast-tracked a lot of these people. Okay, it was around the riots. I didn't agree with the riots. That sort of violence doesn't solve anything. But all of a sudden, two-tier Kia, we're going to fast-track these people through the courts that are being violent. What's happened to the 2 attackers that attacked the coppers at Manchester Airport?
They've gone not guilty as well. They've gone not guilty.
When a Labour MP, councillor, Jonesy, stands up and says all infidels should be done away with.
His name Ricky Thomas?
Ricky Jones.
No, not Ricky. Ricky Jones, thank you.
Well, his case isn't being heard until I think it's October, August.
August, October, yeah.
Yeah, them two lads that attacked the coppers. I mean, it's on CCTV. In my opinion, one copper was out of order with 1 strike because he booted him in the head while he was prone on the ground.
After the fact.
So, but that doesn't take away. Yeah, that doesn't take away from the fact that those 2 lads attacked the coppers. It's on video. How can they plead not guilty?
And you've got to go back a step further. If you remember, I spoke about it before, when it happened. But the reason why it happened, the police came in heavy-handed because what they did to her in the coffee shop. Yep, and plus it didn't actually start on that main video. It started in the car park. The police. No, in the coffee shop. What happened was when they got a plane, the mums had an altercation with somebody on the plane, and then they stayed around instead of getting your bags and fucking off home because you just when you get off the airport you don't want to hang around here. No. They hang around and waited to find this guy. They found him in a coffee shop. I think it's a Costa or whatever you call him, and battered the fuck out of him. in front of all kids and children and people.
Know about that
That's
one.
what happened. That's what happened there. And then they left, and then the police went looking for them and found them, and that's what happened from there on.
Yeah, the police have gone rogue as far as I'm concerned. I've got no respect for them anymore.
Me too,
None
mate.
whatsoever. I didn't have a lot to start with, but that was just me back in the day.
When you met Dan.
But yeah,
And me.
They did have a bit more respect from me back then, and they gave me a bit of respect. You know,
They need us, because I tell you what they're supporting and giving a 2-tier justice system to, they will bite them in the arse as well. And when they got no support from the government, no support from those that they're protecting, and then the ones that they're protecting are attacking them, they're going to come to us, and we're just going to say, "Oh, I remember."
well, you know, if it's a missing kid or something like that, then obviously, yeah, and any reasonable person would give them anything they need, anything they know. But when you say, "Oh, it was two lads fighting," "Oh, has anybody got any phone footage?" Hang on a minute, mate. You were arresting people last night for filming in public. Now you want to see the fucking footage? You can't have
Roger,
it both ways.
like you, I was a bit of a rebel when I was younger, and I was pretty anti-police. And then I got older, and I started working in security with my own business, doing CCTV and alarms. And the things I got called out for, like, you know, an elderly woman, her husband had died a week before. She was blind, partially stinging that. She got robbed in her house while she was asleep in bed. And I'd get called out to get a call from the police. Can you come and do an alarm for us? Blah, blah, blah. And I saw the other side, you know, or I get a call from the police at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Some woman's been attacked outside down an alleyway or something, or somebody's been stabbed outside a nightclub, and they want me to log in so they can put a USB in to take it in on an interview. And I agreed with that, because look, if I was out and about working and something happened here, someone broke into my house, the first people you call is the police. But it's the old, we still harbouring, you and I, the old school coppers, you know, like click round the ear for doing something naughty. Yeah. It's not like that no more. You know, and we do need the police. We do need police.
Scarface is bang on point there. You know, everybody used to say, "Oh, there are still good coppers." No, because the good coppers stand back and don't act. They don't report the bad ones because they get persecuted.
Yeah, well, look what happened in Rotherham.
We know one.
Like that.
Heather knows him. I've never met the guy, but he literally had to leave the force, and they were still persecuting him and his missus after he left, simply because he reported a bad one. You know, I mean, the worst we used to get back in the day, you'd get a cop and knock on the door. "Oh, you didn't shut your door yesterday."
What?
You know, yeah, we used to leave the front door of the house open and all sorts of shit. We never bothered. You know, we knew nobody would go in there.
But can I say my ex-cop would not come and say anything on screen?
Yeah.
Because he's still worried that they might screw up his pension.
And, you know, I said, look, if he wants to come and tell his story, you know, I'd keep him off camera, blur his face out and that. And he said, "I can't do it." He said, "Because they'll come after me again."
Now, how old was he? I mean, you have to roughly. I bet he's in his late 50s or late 40s.
Our age.
Yeah, exactly. Common sense. Common sense age.
Yeah, it's, and I still say when they changed was when they brought in the thing where they had to make so many arrests a week. That
and
was when they changed.
The pressure with Theresa May got rid of 20,000.
Fuck, you know. I mean, I've said it many times. Our local village Bobby back home, I'd come home from the day up the dirt pits with my bike and what have you, and he'd be sat in there drinking a cup of coffee with me mum. And the only reason he used to call in is because mother would tell him where I was, what I'd been doing. I mean, quite often, yeah, you know, I used to tear ass around everywhere on bikes and in cars. They knew damn well they wouldn't catch me in a car. They only had the fucking escorts and shit back then. There was no way they were going to catch any of my motors. But they knew where my garage was. They knew where my workshop was. So if there was a report that I was out tear-assing around, they'd just wait at the gate for me to come home.
Do you know, I remember one time back in late 80s, right? I went out, I was tripping my tits off, right? Back in those days. And I went out for a drive with my mates and the girls and that. And we got stopped around the corner from my house. And the old Bill just like, he'd been drinking. I said, no, I did it. We go, yeah, right. And he could see that I was tripping my tits off. This is before they did any. I don't think you can get done for acid. I can't remember now. I know you can get done for everything else now with swabs and everything. And he pulled me over. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes, you right, Simon? You're looking a bit different tonight. I said, no, I'm fine, but I'm tripping my tits off, trying to like be normal. And he looked up at he goes, oh, look at that. I goes, what? And I leant down because I was in the back of the car. He goes, the sun's bright tonight, isn't it? I goes, oh, yeah. And it wasn't. It's a full moon. He goes, like, go on, fuck off back home. Fuck off back home. That's the old school coppers from back in the day. I mean, that's late 80s.
I mean, I got pulled up one night coming home. It was early, well, I say early morning, more late night. And he pulled me up and he said, have you forgotten something, Sonny? I said, what? He said, well, where's your fucking helmet?
No.
And I just turned around without even thinking, oh, fuck it, I left it in the pub.
Really?
Oh, so you've been drinking as well, have you?
Oh, no. What happened?
Oh, I got banned drink driving.
Oh, what year was that?
Oh, Christ, that was back in the 70s.
Oh, you got in the 70s?
Yeah.
What was it? 68 when it was something like that? It started, was it 68 or early 70s? They started bringing out the breathalyzer.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in the 70s, my first one.
You must have been on the cusp.
Followed by two more over a few years once I got my license back.
How long did you get banned for?
The last one, I wrote a police car off.
What?
Well, I decided to. I'd had a few beers. The lads had been round. We'd been in the workshop drinking. And I decided, right, we'll go down the chippy, get us a few bags of chips and shit, and we'll sit and have a bit of a munch. So coming back, all of a sudden there's a blue light behind me, so I go and tear-assing off. About a mile up the road, there was a T-junction. There was a fucking police escort parked across the road. So I took the front end clean out of his fucking escort, the engine, the lot.
What about you?
Well, I was driving one of my prepared banger cars.
Oh, you got a bike.
It was an old Granada that I'd get ready for banger racing. It was back in the day when you could actually armour them on the outside. And, you know, the copper admitted he only caught me because I blew the engine up a quarter of a mile down the road. And he said, well, why did you run? I said, well, you wouldn't have known who it was otherwise, would you? If I'd have got away. He said, well, yeah. He said, because it had your fucking name and your race number painted on the side of the car.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you was driving it. It got stolen.
They did actually catch me because I blew the engine up. And, of course, there was another one coming up behind me a little way back, and he had me. But that was the last driving ban I got. That was 3 years, that one.
I've had some good chases in my time.
I mean,
but on a motorbike, you never get pulled with a motorbike. You're off.
Speeding fine in Bristol. I got a photo of it somewhere upstairs that they sent me. It was a little bit of a dual carriageway in Bristol. And I thought it was 40 miles an hour. I didn't see any 30 mile an hour signs.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen the van on the side of the road. So I'm doing exactly 40 mile an hour. And as I went past the van, I'm like, it was a 30 mile an hour limit. But they got the picture that they used for the, you know, from the camera.
Mm.
You could actually see me sat in the car giving it the finger at the camera, thinking I was in the right. But oh dear, that was a giggle, that one.
I had you know, Queen's Drive in Swindon. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the name. No.
It's the one that goes towards Coatmore. And I stayed at his bird's house in the night, and it was about 8 o'clock in the morning. I was leaving, and I was driving down there. What do I have? A KH350. Do you remember the KH350 triples?
Kawasaki, yeah.
Wow. And I was stopped at his traffic lights, and this motorway patrol motorbike coming alongside me, copper. And he's there, and he not, like bikers, you all nod at each other. I know he's a copper, but you nod at each other. And I was about 18 at the time, I think, maybe younger. And he started doing, I'm waiting for the lights to change. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, really quiet. And he's like, "Oh, you want to give it Sunday and Sun, do you?" I was thinking. He's going, so I went, "Ah!" And I went like that. And he fucking pulled me over, the cunt, didn't he?
Do you remember the nickname for the KH Kawasaki's?
Oh, Quacker. No. Kettles were 480s. Oh.
The Kettles were the Suzuki water cooled ones.
Yeah, 380s. The Kettles were 750 to triples.
750 and the 380.
And
The
changed the middle
Kawasaki's were nicknamed the Widowmaker.
Really? No. I don't remember that.
Yep.
That's more like for the Yamaha RDs. Remember those?
The KHs, they were a terrible handling thing. Brilliant engine.
Yeah, swinging arm. Yeah, I know. They're swinging arm. You could change that. But so were the RDs. Remember the RDs? 250s, 350s? They were fucking
I had the RD 400. Wheelie machine. Well, I'm going to call that it, Simon. My eyes have just started to go now.
I know. I'm going to have some food in a minute. It is that time. You okay?
Well, I keep trying to extend it. I'm going to try and do a longer one next week because it's my birthday on the Thursday. So, I'm going to have the Wednesday as like my birthday stream. So,
unfortunately for you, you won't be able to get a telegram for the Queen.
No, not quite yet.
Not quite yet. All right, look, thank you very much for letting me come up in it. Everyone in the chat, if I've missed anyone, I've not said hello while I've been chatting, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's nice to end on a bit of a high and a laugh. You've had a good laugh. You've been wiping your eyes, haven't you?
Oh, I have, and that's what started my eyes watering, and that's why they started to go.
Well, I'll see you next week. So your birthday's next week,
All
yeah?
right, mate. Yeah, next Thursday, yeah.
All right, okay. You take care. Good night.
Another year.
Young lady in the background. Good night, young lady in the background.
Good night, my
You
dear.
take care, guys. Good to see you both. Thanks for letting me up on all this on the channel, right? I'll get back to my life here.
Mate.
All right, see you later, guys. Look after each other.
Take it easy, buddy.
Don't forget, be safe. See you later.
Everybody in the chat, thank you very much for sticking with us. I know cars and motoring isn't all your fortes out there, especially the poor girls sat there. But thank you very much for dropping in. If there's any lurkers still in the background there, hi. And as I said, next week will be my birthday stream. So we have got some alcohol-free lager in the cupboard. I might even let myself have a bottle of one of them. But as always, from me, it's good night. Hello.
Oh, I'm typing.
And oh, look, right at the end of the fucking show, the fucking camera packs up. All right, let's switch over to the other one. And as always, before I go, stay safe, stay strong, and stay free.
And wicked.
Wicked. Respects, people. Take care. Oh, come on, press the right fucking